Francisco is one of the most attractive towns in America. Here it is better to leave the car and wear a good pair of shoes to visit the diverse neighbourhoods. And remember to carry a full wallet. San Francisco is also a town full of street artists, and this one seems to be in a hurry. Prepare to have your senses assaulted in Chinatown. Pungent smells waft out of hundreds of restaurants. Mixed with the view of banners in crimson and gold, pagoda roofs beside dragon-entwined lampposts, and the noise of thousands of shoppers bargaining loudly in Cantonese or Mandarin. Here Asia has swallowed America. The trip to Alcatraz is truly unforgettable. The American National Park Service has prepared an excellent audio tour using the voices of the actual correctional officers and inmates who lived on the rock.
During the 1920s and 30s, a wave of violent crime swept across America. The federal government decided that a new super prison was needed to isolate these men. Alcatraz Island was chosen as a site for a penitentiary where the toughest, the most dangerous, and the most famous prisoners would be singled out and transferred. This was America's prison within the prison system.
A gorgeous day for us here. When this was a federal penitentiary, the inmates liked it when it was weather like this, because when it was nasty weather, gray and foggy, they couldn't go out of their cells. They couldn't leave to go to work.
I love being here on the island because there's such wonderful stories. Adventurous stories, exciting stories, stories about the prisoners, stories about the guards. Alcatraz was a small town, and it was a family town, and a lot of families lived here. And that's a part of Alcatraz not a lot of people know. I've researched it. It's a really fun place to work. You ought to come on out and see us.
Alcatraz was originally a formidable fortification, built to defend San Francisco's bay. Let's now enter into the penitentiary and listen to its voices and atmosphere.
I am Philip Bergen, captain of the guard. This place is going to operate on the basis that you do what you're told, and you're going to get a fair break. We're not here to hurt you. We are here to help you. But in order to get the help, you got to behave yourself. If you don't behave yourself, we're going to come down on you like a ton of bricks.
In front of you is the main aisle through the cell house. The inmates call this Broadway.
They marched us into the cell house, and we marched down Broadway. And this was like an introduction to Alcatraz. They try to humiliate you in front of the other convicts by parading you down Broadway.
Your cell is subject to search at any time. Any dangerous article such as money, narcotics.
Well, here's the typical Alcatraz cell. Every one of them in the cell house is exactly alike. You look in, you can see directly in front of you the folding table and chair. They're usually folded back against the wall so the inmate will have a little room to walk around. You see his cot. And it's a typical Army cot with typical equipment, mattress, pillows, blankets, sheets, and so forth.
Your towel had to be folded up and put on your shelf. Your toothbrush, and they used to give us tooth powder in little containers. That was put on your shelf. You didn't have a razor.
I knew every mark, everything in that cell. And then pretty soon that cell became like a part of me, or I became a part of the cell. And I couldn't visualize living anywhere else in the prison than in my cell. It was like coming back and greeting an old friend, because it was part of me.
Straub was a guy that always created turmoil. And even when he was in the hospital, he used to create turmoil.
Fluent in 3 languages, a mathematical expert, brilliant man. And he didn't bring his birds along with him, which made him very unhappy, but he brought all his bad habits with him, which made us unhappy.
Everybody was the same there. There was no BS, no Bonnaroos, and no gunsels running around loose.
Do not smoke or carry lighted cigarettes or pipes in the cell house at any time. Walk, do not run when moving from one place to another.
Capone was from New York, went to Chicago, and he was a street fighter. He's a big man, he was in good shape. The only thing, his brain was gone.
With that 45 loaded and cocked, you could pull it and snap that safety off and kill a man in 6 flat seconds.
If I told somebody to do something, I expected them to do it. And if they didn't do it, I'd lower the boom on them. And the man would probably go to segregation, go to the hole. That was my club.
We have 42 of the least popular cells in Alcatraz. Although by far they are the best, the roomiest, and the nicest state-of-the-art cells that were available in this prison.
Imagine 200 plus men, each with a knife, fork, and spoon in hand. This was potentially the most dangerous room in the cell house.
It was a strict requirement of the Bureau of Prisons that the food not only be palatable and healthy, but attractively served.
You see these canisters up there, that's tear gas. We nicknamed the dining room the gas chamber.
Well, you had a man on the catwalk, gun gallery, and he carried a rifle and a pistol. Call him a gun bull.
That hook was for the specific purpose of allowing the officer on the floor to send his keys up to the gallery for safekeeping.
You couldn't beat Alcatraz for the beautiful view there. You had the Golden Gate out there, the fresh air, see all the ships that come in.
So there was never a day you didn't see what the hell you were losing and what you were missing. It was all there for you to see. There's everything I want in my life, and it's there. It's a mile or a mile and a half away, and yet I can't get to it.
Frank Lee Morris and 2 brothers, John and Clarence Anglin, managed to do what some said was impossible. The 3 escaped from their cells and from the cell house and from the island on the night of June 11th, 1962.
The head that I saw was extremely realistic. It was certainly a realistic enough one that I could see where somebody could easily have counted it.
You cannot take away from a man the thought that he wants his freedom. Everybody wanted to be out. Nobody wanted to be locked up on a damn windswept island.
To kill the captive guards, he shot them in cold blood, one by one. They were firing their guns as they died.
You gotta shoot them. What are you gonna do?
Stupid. Very stupid. You commit suicide.
On March 21st, 1963, Alcatraz was closed by the order of the Attorney General Robert Kennedy. The reasons given were the deteriorating condition of the penitentiary and the high cost of its operation.
Nobody can leave San Francisco without experiencing the thrill of riding the famous cable cars that were declared national landmarks, the only ones that move in 1964. The most dramatic line climbs up Nob Hill, then winds through North Beach to Fisherman's Wharf. And this is the end of the trip to Northern California. Of course, this is only a small fraction of what it can offer, but it is enough to whet the appetite.